Most of us don't actually feel our emotions. We think about them, we analyze them, we try to solve them and heal them, get to the bottom of them, or we avoid them, distract from them, push past them, reframe them before they've even had a chance to speak. I did this just yesterday. I got angry about something and I told my husband I needed to take a walk. Before I even knew what I was doing, I'd climbed into my parked car instead and started mindlessly scrolling on my phone. It took me a minute or two before I'd realized I had totally zombied out of my emotions. Today, we're going to practice meeting an emotion without trying to change it. This practice is called emotional inquiry, and in my opinion, is the most powerful emotional processing tool we can use entirely on our own. What we're doing is gently turning toward a feeling with curiosity. We're sensing it, embodying it, listening to what it's trying to communicate. And we're going to alternate between exploring the feeling through a series of questions that I ask you, and then just coming back to the feeling itself, inquiring and coming back, inquiring and coming back. I invite you to find a comfortable position, and while I offer you some prompts or questions along the way, feel free to just engage in the exercise in silence and stillness. No need to answer or write anything down. Choose something that's been difficult for you lately. Maybe there's a fear, an anger, or painful experience you're not particularly keen on feeling right now, but that you're willing to be with today. Just something present. You might engage it by thinking of a scenario that elicits it, like a conversation you've been avoiding, a decision that feels heavy, a moment that's been lingering for you. However you want to find the feeling is okay, but we just want to bring it into our body now. Okay, now if you haven't already, you can close your eyes and let's just relax a minute. You can take a slow breath in through your nose and a long exhale out of your mouth. Again, inhale, exhale. Notice if there's still any resistance in your body. See if you can release any more muscles that want to stay engaged. Notice if there's anything that wants to protect. Notice if anything wants something to be different. Now let's bring in that feeling. Let it arise in your body. You can recall it from a memory or situation, or you can just summon the emotional tone of it. And as that feeling starts to show up, I want you to shift your attention out of your thoughts and into your body. Where do you feel this feeling most? Where is it right now in your body? If it had a shape, what would it look like? If it had a texture, what would it be? Is it smooth or bumpy? Is it firm or loose? Is it warm or cold? Is it still or does it move? Where does this feeling start and end? How wide or long is it? How does the feeling move in your body? Does it slither? Does it vibrate? Where's the center of this feeling? Can you move to the very middle of the feeling? Can you get 1% closer to the center of the feeling? Okay, let's relax again. You can let the feeling go. Take a deep breath. And then now let's embody that feeling again. Maybe you can step right back into the center of it, or maybe you need to reimagine the scenario that draws it out again. Notice where the feeling is again. How close is the outside edge of it to your back? How close is it to the front of your body? Does the outside of the feeling move differently than the center? Can you point to the exact place where the feeling ends and you begin? What's it like between the outside edge and the very middle of the feeling? What color is the feeling? Does the color change when you look at it from a different angle or from the inside out? How solid is the feeling? What density does it have? Is that density the same throughout, or are the edges different than the middle? And if you go to the densest part of the feeling, how much space is there? How much light filters into that dense part? What happens to the feeling if you were to slow it down, almost to the point of stillness? And then what happens to the feeling if you let it loose, let it speed up? And again, let it go. Take a deep breath. Feel free to shake or wiggle if you need to. And now, last time, let's embody that feeling again. Recall the most intense experience of that feeling you've had recently, or maybe you can just step right back into the center of the feeling again without thinking too much. And this time, I want you to pretend that you're a little kid playing around in the yard, and this feeling is like a really big caterpillar you see crawling around in the grass, and you pick it up. You're holding this little feeling in your hand, looking at it with genuine curiosity, and you're noticing everything there is to notice about it. You're touching it, you're looking up close at every little detail, you're smelling it. Maybe you're really young and curious and dare to lick it, see what it tastes like. Just fully embrace the childlike wonder in observing this feeling with all your senses. What happens to this feeling when you poke it a little? What happens if you squeeze it a little? What is this feeling like if you play with it gently? What's the feeling like if you throw it away and tell it, "Get away from me"? What is this feeling like if you held it like it was precious to you? What's this feeling like if you tickle it and really dig into that spot? How is this feeling if you listen to it really, really intently? Like you were hanging on to its every word and it was telling you the most important message of your life. You might even ask it, "What are you trying to show me?" You might ask it, "What do you need from me right now?" And how is this feeling when you completely shut it out, ignore it, like it's a complete fool or a jerk? How is this feeling if you let it take you over completely? You surrender to it with no resistance and just let it fully in. How is this feeling if you wall yourself off from it? You fiercely defend and protect against this feeling. What does the feeling do if you breathe into it? What does the feeling do if you hold your breath? What would it be like if you loved this feeling with all your heart, like a toddler or a baby who's been crying or lashing out for attention, and you just open up your arms and wrap it in a hug that only you can give it to make it feel safe and held? And just breathe here. As if your breath could make a little more space for it, for the feeling to just be. And now, when you're ready, I want you to gently thank this feeling. Not because it's comfortable and because you like it, but because it's communicating, because it showed up. Take one more slow breath in and out. Now you can gently open your eyes and come back to the room around you. Notice what shifted, even subtly. Emotions change when they're allowed and not when they're managed, not when they're controlled, not when they're bypassed with a beautiful, articulate reframe, but when they're met. And this is the deeper work. Not becoming someone who doesn't feel, not becoming someone who lives above their feelings, whatever that means, but becoming someone who can stay with themselves when something uncomfortable arises. Because when you can do that, you don't have to organize your life around avoidance anymore. You don't have to shrink your desires to match your capacity to feel. You don't have to wait until you're fearless to move forward. You become safe in your own experience. And that's where self-trust actually begins. Not in having all the answers, but in knowing I can be with myself no matter what comes up. This is a practice. You can come back to it anytime. You might even bump into this feeling again in the wild in your life and notice a different reaction to it, a new curiosity in you towards it, a new openness to just witness it and learn more about it. And over time, that openness becomes safety. That safety becomes capacity. And that capacity is what allows you to choose more freely. And with that, we've come to the end of today's episode on the Contentment Creator channel, where we explored how to truly feel our feelings deeply and safely. Whether you caught the whole episode or just one of our segments, thank you so much for staying all the way to the end. And I hope you are subscribed so you don't miss another episode. Join me in my mission to help a world full of content creators become a world of contentment creators. Bye, y'all.